Among Us, colloquially termed Among Us, teaches us to punish the minority and hate those who are different and unique as imposters. Instead, I like the breath of fresh air this problem provides as a new perspective on deduction that is not read as sus, red vented, etc. that has been dominating the jokes of my peers and the view of my feed. Yet, by trying to force this problem to conform to Among Us, you yourself are trying to crush originality and uniqueness.
How blatant can Valve be? Seriously? So instead of the spike, they have something called a bomb? Instead of abilities, they have nades, mollies, and smokes. Instead of agents, it's terrorists and counter-terrorists? What is this, the 1970s? It's almost as if they copied, but halfway through they got lazy and just released the game. Valve should be ashamed of themselves. I guess imitation is the best form of flattery. Riot is so kind to not come after Valve legally. Blatant rip-off of Valorant this.
汪淼觉得来找他的这4个人是一个奇怪的组合，2名警察和2名军人。如果那2个军人是武警还算正常，但这是2名陆军军官。汪淼第一眼就对来找他的警察没有好感。其实那名穿警服的年轻人还行，举止很有礼貌，但那位便衣就让人讨厌了。这人长得5大3粗，一脸横肉，穿着件脏兮兮的皮夹克，浑身烟味，说话粗声大嗓，是最令汪淼反感的那类人。汪淼，那人问，直呼其名令汪淼很不舒服，况且那人同时还在点烟，头都不抬一下。不等汪淼回答，他就向旁边那位年轻人示意了一下。后者向汪淼出示了警官证，他点完烟后就直接向屋里闯。请不要在我家里抽烟。汪淼拦住了他。哦，对不起，汪教授，这是我们史强队长。年轻警官微笑着说，同时对姓史的使了个眼色。成，那就在楼道里说吧。史强说着，深深地吸了一大口，手中的烟几乎燃下去一半，之后竟不见吐出烟来。你问？他又向年轻警官偏了一下头。汪教授，我们是想了解一下，最近你与科学边界学会的成员有过接触，是吧？科学边界是一个在国际学术界很有影响的学术组织，成员都是著名学者。这样一个合法的学术组织，我怎么就不能接触了呢？你看看你这个人。史强大声说，我们说他不合法了吗？我们说不让你接触了吗？他说着，刚才吸进肚子里的烟都喷到汪淼脸上。
On the day their mother went off to war, on the last day of life as we knew it, I was invited to a party. There were parties everywhere that evening, on more than 150 words in the web, but this was the only party that mattered. I signified acceptance via the datasphere, checked to make sure that my finest formal jacket was clean, took my time bathing and shaving, dressed with meticulous care, and used the one-time diski in the invitation chip to forecast from Esperance to Tau Ceti Center at the appointed time. It was evening in this hemisphere of TC2, and a low, rich light illuminated the hills and valleys of Deer Park, the great towers of the administration complex far to the south, the weeping willows and radiant fanfare which lined the banks of River Titis, and the white colonnades of Government House itself. Thousands of guests were arriving, but security personnel greeted each of us, checked our invitation codes against DNA patterns, and showed the way to bar and buffet with a graceful gesture of arm and hand. M. Joseph Sevan, the guide confirmed politely. Yes, I lied. It was now my name but never my identity. Sigil Gladstone still wishes to see you later in the evening. You will be notified when she is free for the appointment. Very good. If you desire anything in the way of refreshment or entertainment that is not set out, merely speak your wish aloud and the grounds monitors will seek to provide it. I nodded, smiled, and left the guide behind. Before I had strolled a dozen steps, he had turned to the next guest alighting from the Terminex platform. From my vantage point on a low knoll, I could see several thousand guests milling across several hundred acres of manicured lawn, many of them wandering among forests of topiary. Above the stretch of grass where I stood, its broad sweep already shaded by the line of trees along the river, lay the former gardens, and beyond them rose the imposing bulk of Government House. A band was playing on the distant patio, and hidden speakers carried the sound to the farthest reaches of their park. A constant line of EMVs spiraled down from a Farcaster portal far above. For a few seconds I watched their brightly clad passengers disembark at the platform near the pedestrian terminus. I was fascinated by the variety of aircraft. Evening light glinted not only on the shells of the standard Vicans and Ots and Somozos, but also on the rococo decks of levitation barges and the metal hulls of antique skimmers which had been quaint when old Earth still existed. I wandered down the long, gradual slope to the River Titis, past the dock where an incredible assortment of river craft disgorged their passengers. The Titis was the only web-wide river, flowing past its permanent Farcaster portals through sections of more than 200 watts and moons, and the folk who lived along its banks were some of the wealthiest in the hegemony. The vehicles on the river showed these great, crenellated cruisers, canvas-laden barks, and 5-tiered barges, many showing signs of being equipped with levitation gear, elaborate houseboats, obviously fitted with their own Farcasters, small, motor isles imported from the oceans of Maui Covenant, sporty Prehegera speedboats and submersibles, an assortment of hand-carved nautical EMVs from Renaissance Vector, and a few contemporary go-everywhere yachts, their outlines hidden by the seamless, reflective ovoid surfaces of containment fields. The guests who alighted from this craft were no less flamboyant and impressive than their vehicles. Personal styles ranged from Prehegera conservative evening wear on bodies obviously never touched by Paulson treatments to this week's highest fashion from TC2 draped on figures molded by the web's most famous aeonist. Then I moved on, pausing at a long table just long enough to fill my plate with